educating public on the Rent Act, no. Meaning say nyoma ese fata say landlords, tenants, omoye ejuma etosu mienu e wasa ye ne say e wasa ye settle conflict. Say landlord and tenant amunti omo ho ase a e wasa ye na ambeba ya ho na ya church omo the me bo cho mitwi ni nyanti ya omo fanche me na ya church omo de e wasa omoye na ye last function e wasa ye ne say I was saying making sure say Rent Act no a year juma. Inti they say Rent Control Department Act a year juma no a Rent Act 1963 Act 220 and no currently year juma. Emom was some Rent Bill 2023 sorry and no yanyam pass a secret to review current Act a year juma. But as of now, no, you're passing the same Rent Act 1963 na yadi ejuma. Inti they say we fira na say usi wodanya. Now oye wadwin say a rent na odebema. The very first thing I was say we as a fira and say I was say oba rent control office oba register as a fira. Oba register. That gives the rent control the opportunity to keep records of vacant premises. OSHA Section 5 of the Rent Act now. I say rent officer, I will say you keep vacant, a register of vacant premises. Meaning say rent control office, you keep access or records of vacant premises now. The issues of agents, ACC, tenants and so now ambenya dino ni na esubetra because rent office keep vacant premises na say obi here dan ya dey here ni say obeba rent control office o here dan wo ha o here dan of this nature na rent office because they keep stock of those premises no easily you betimi amasa information no and nothing here say fear say usi wo dan ya I was say obe register. Now having registered, no, the next thing is I was a rent control office. You call inspecting property, no. Then you're making sure say rules, bylaws are honorable. I must share assemblies. Every assemblies or bylaws regarding facilities. I was a fee rent office be making sure say facilities no. I was a fee na no or person or dema rent. Jama washroom or light or other certain basic amenities in here send nipa betina ho so that that facility can be declared habitable. Inti na here say fira was some register. Afi say ye fasa ekwanye ni na so a the next thing is ye wodan fira but emrema ho kwan say won ko a wo be determine here a be charge for that facility no into be ye bibi obe apply for assessment meaning say obe can share rent office price o person o this property no o deje rent office be ba ho abe taking measurement I consider other factors mutuality ni o no not together with the landlord you determine and here as a property no I was say ya deje. Having done that, no rent control office be more certificate of assessed rent. Meaning say obi ba tenant bi ba na woman rate na on TRCA we betime use that document no dey share no say your facility has been assessed and it has been that price has been approved. You faster process no we are afi eye wodan ebia wodan no you can say o expect say tenants no maybe a gated house let's use that a gated house and I will feel no about 10 o'clock obe pese obe lock main gate no you feel but sa in shisha no I was a tenant no oye aware and sa na wagye sika say ochina assembly bar tenant no oye aware pan say sa fie no about 10 na ye betum enu ntina ye free bibi tenancy agreement Fira no in Shishaya wo pese o ma a govern on the tenant no obeba rent office. The reason obeba rent office ni say emra no ye na ye kra emra no iti abe make sure say agreements about what tenancy agreement no and laws ni na align it is ofie no o person lock gate 10 na ya be ma about tenancy agreement no e bia ofie no o engage ebi mo be pra ho uti omoka at the end of every month o be expect say tenant no we say ono so otua bibi we say about agreement no it is a board draft tenancy agreement na you be making sure say laws no so aye ejuma sisi Ghana ya wono emra ne say fiera nje more than 6 months rent advance and nothing na you encourage say landlords no mo beba na ya boa a draft agreement no to reflect the positions of the law say as a mo sign agreement ni we are ansa na tenant ne beba no de sa nhihye ni na abema no na wakenkan so why you ready say obedi ni na so a afi one no be exchange na wetua na mo sign agreement na mean say sa agreement no are binding by law because the tenant is well aware say sa fee no about 10 na you betu gate no sa fee no yetua 20 cedis every month towards keeping the premises. It is a most sign agreement ni we are sorry I was a copy back to rent control office copy back to the rent of control office because assembly after one engage here rent control na be share aka asem no by law until you keep copy wa rent officer na eventually rent control be issue their friend rent card no acknowledgement of a particular tenancy. That's the complete meaning process no are complete. It is only tenant no more engage we offer process we ni name now your record or rent control office now about 11 o'clock now o tenant be fee now what to main gate ma sa tenant no crowd to mean be kasa because I aware say sa fee no o catch no right from inception say about 10 na o be lock main gate no say month so na tenant 20 cedis na utimi o ho kwan say o be institute legal action na rent control ya intervening make sure say tenant no wetia because aban so ya aware say only tenant no what can see say every month e betua 20 cedis to say a problem say cause na regarding tenancy no it is because most of the tenancy agreement no are informal ya de anoka saya na ya de kan iti ebanesa the state cra enye aware say only o tenant cra ma engage most of the tenancy agreement and most of the landlord tenant relationship secondary takrade hani na unlawful in the sense say aban rent control na representing no onye aware of any such agreement. Until they see say problems need there because of all these problems need abide government only data about informing policy decisions say Sarah and I undertaking your duties here abide benya because at the end of the day so be here a rent office now beba it is a mobile rent office na mu here dan na mu nye bia yenim say nkofo here single room apartment are available. We can advise the government in that regard so that affordable housing can be made available. That put aside the process is where you FEMA you buying properties be moswa you demand rent but because over the years okay over the years no yen fa process ni name no ama hard into your sermon say tenant now o rented there the very first thing I obey and say making sure say what demanded for tenancy agreement disafira and say in shishaya bay na what o person me have regarding that facility no ansana what making any form of payment we fira so na o person o de wo diamond rent we advise say obeba rent control office say I be guide now what drafted tenancy agreement and creating only problem in ma only o tenants no inti yada mo ase pa
yo Mr. Courage but one man time
so I should excuse you.
No, we have a concern.
Okay.
Same things are Mr. Courage I'm calling the certain zone go toilet be nim some the same wo
Sure.
There any area go forward the weather ma mo di ashawo onam dam ashawo na o community if you are no se mi fie ni a ebe ona ma asa ka won normal people na what won because ashawo ni no betwe 60 cedis a day normal person no betwe 120 cedis a month nti ochede skeni plenty na if you no asa ni papa na odama nti meba won dem let na me think am dey show first nti obede won there law no mu no what should we do law no magda mo kwan na dem mo ebe mo scam ku fie mo da perform search immoral mo da agba ashawo another landlord bit ma sack obi ya yo onam 60 say dey obejinity nti the more one our rent control officer I know I discuss them nti all the things dem pay wey you can watch na why when you have to watch na opa nti ebe address one am e law ni
okay nti e wo law num no ye wo nyoma bi mu a se tenant ye ansa na otimi gina so se o je wo dan ansa na fira beka se o je ne dan no ye wo nyoma e wo se tenant ti se de me wo faka ye no e bia o wa be rent dan o shiwi wo fie ho it's against the laws it is an immoral act rent act no say fira to me too irrespective of agreement only na have it. But the reason many abotria me take it as true ni na ne say most of the tenancy agreements are around no unlawful. Abai is not aware of such engagement. So obi aye be ope fira aye be ope agent here be ope tenant here be ope but obi too if you without any justifiable reason and nothing a rent control office wo ho no bra office be complain say o be complain na investigate who say onye boni bia ana ekwan ya wo say fira faso ansa ojidan no wan faso na or harasewa you be intervene and making sure say bet na fie ho and I say wo share your act no I think act section 25 of the rent act no I say they assemble before the appropriate rent control officer. That's the officer make assembly within the next 2 years. No fear, no only quite crass or better say fifio. I don't know if it answers your question to a large extent, but it is of course Ghana. The laws of the country frowns against prostitution. It is an illegal venture. It is only pass a juma wena nipa ne forgive me oye ashawo na utu unia e de dan na ma ashawo it is against the laws. It is of course not right. It is not right. Most of the problems that arise out of tenancy landlord and a tenant amun shishe no it's because it has bypassed the oversight of the law which is represented by rent control office. Most of agreement, most landlord and tenant in Shisheya, Takrade, Bebrena, Abai is not aware of it. Itina, encourages us, they would die in my rent cry. You need to register yourself. You need to register yourself. You need to register yourself so that the state will guide you to draft agreement. Say, abide by that rule. Issues to say the OBJ, O2 OB. At the dynama ashawo no it wouldn't even happen in the first place. Abai is aware of your engagement, but the reason nyoma called the way economy say most of the tenants informal unlawful inti fira to me sorry say or jenedan because in the first place fira ne tenant no more engagement no the law is not aware of it. The law with regards to rental no rent control office now share laws ne so intina encourage say landlords no more register so that the state will be aware of your engagement.
One question for the
Mr. Meeting to be our
zongo kokos another community na kasano asha we na we ya no onye mrama asumna la na dresses bia okodo a onye normal you see sir we take action of those people see sir no you pede bi so there see sir ya kese ye pe ye look at action to confront for another yeah, the salary brown one. Now, this one, man, loss. I between you to the milk of one because you tell them now. What was his salary? I want to know what it done with that double company. I want more come on because of then I found more now. 1 2 1 3 if you know why the milk value. This is a very young. If you want to take attack against a favor of now, you take attack against a show for now.
I think say it will be appropriate say a best sign petition. The Islamic community, will come back, will bring you, will draft a petition. I'm shame so that we send it to the regional coordinating council and we make sure the rent control office also appends to the petition so that we follow up for you and make sure that sanity is brought in the sector, because the issues of the several challenges in Ghana, issues of galamsey. In fact, I was watching a video mamia or ton fish or the fish and your red fish or they share me who say chemicals or they share chemicals or EPA now than a red fish. All these things are happening because the rental housing sector is having challenges. When me can say everywhere I stand, I would make this emphatic statement. The Rent Control Department, Rent Act now, Emma Rent Control existing Rent Act no section 2 say was say ana aban wo ho kwan say the act makes provision for the appointment of a rent commissioner. Rent commissioner no ono na was so making sure say Rent Act no aye juma, but Rent Act no it has been for over 60 years now, 6 decades, but yenya commissioner da into say Rent Act no they was so making sure say ye juma no fiti da act ne ba ye nya bi da no. How can we make, how can the department work? So everywhere we get the opportunity to come, we make it loud so that the Islamic authorities would also add their voice to this to make sure that we are able to carry out our functions. Because, Sir Osha Braboma, needs, your basic needs. So once satisfied basic needs of clothing, shelter, and food, you can't satisfy or you won't even think about the needs of love. You won't think about the needs of community. Say, I come the nipa, galam say, onim say, enya depa, but obeye, because I come de no, onya baby obeda. I come de market woman oton fish, I enton the fish, or the best colored substance mu aton fish no, because I was onya sika, betuya ne rent. I was so nyasika the maneba. So these are what we are calling for. So the Islamic authorities, we plead with you to add your voice to the call of the need for a rent commissioner so that the department can be able to carry out its mandate effectively and make sure that affordable housing. In fact, say in Kofo here dying, there were housing deficit for Ghana. Say ya depa, say nkofo here die yen see die ma mo na mo shame because people are ready for the accommodation. So what is the problem? Me, I consider it an opportunity. In fact, before I came into this auditorium, my friend National Home Ownership Fund, amuye fund amusi affordable housing to complement affordable housing. Me bisa a dino 2-bedroom boy. I must say 660,000 Ghana cedis. We can afford that building. How affordable is that building? We are encouraging, the authorities add their voices to our mandate because you register landlords, you register tenants, assembly stores, STMA apartments you're renting, which is less than 50 cedis. It will go directly to people who need it because I was keeping data of landlords and tenants. It is a assembly store, say STM state housing company property. Sisia middle person be own to me womb. It is say Oyefira, which Aban is also a landlord at a point. or rentia or the bema tenant straight ajisa 50 no obi mbehye middle entua 50 abra on tina dan no na onko rent sa dan no more than 50 ebi mo rent no 1000 1005 ye ku ye ho, and that is what is creating problems and challenges such as the films is ano, because people are desperate. People, their housing is not meeting the needs. The demands of housing are more than the supply. So we have to be able to fill the gap. Landlords have to register. We need to have accurate data and know the needs of the people so that government can intervene. Madam Ase.
By 5 minutes or if you want to ask me, because this is a meeting. I was question you into also very yeah. No, I like the first say maybe some question now. You into we are now. Didn't part to now.
I'm the oil boss. Answer now. Honorable care. Nam answer on my clear. Answer number. Now, Marcus, some more question. I'm very busy. Oil boss original. Only about them renting. Now these days renting. Yeah, you charge the American. Nti dam insha na ya hye ho charge no as a rent control abadu wo ye fam na wona eduma no mehu eduma no tedan o ma sanya ya mbo ho awon woto anomamba houses wo bebisa wona wo edan no o how do you pay your rent, how do you ama nyama bia soft ama oye yen tenant a ye rent edan no ma no esi wo ha oye mebe the honorable Ashawo funa or kamana sam in fact or the honono ebi atem ye bere yo bo obi said malam no obi said ha obi said oye dem wona wate ifewura funa wate hono na o ifewura funa won bedi la na de woni ashawo funa wodi bedi answer na mba na anu so mpede meka found there sisi anu say one sorrow wa yehu bibia nyame nukwani yen kan dada wan nya kasa ye be take law to our own hand nukora sama wan
yo medase nti o first question regarding the fact fira bimo the show monsana amo charge rent no and na me share sika say most of the tenancies are secondary takrade ha no unlawful. Landlords amu register here. Tenants now are engaging. The state is not aware of the engagement in the first place. People say, tenants some rentia insist on the tenancy agreement. Insist on it. Say, Fira no be register. Now agreement the state which is rent control is aware of it. It will bear our stamp. Insist on the tenancy agreement and solve problems of rent charges because to say them rent assessment I was say rent control any fear and decide after that premises has been inspected. I think your second question third question regarding Ashawa one say rent control office, our mandate is well within landlords and tenants. Inti ashawono vice, social vice. So what we can do is that there are authorities in this land, and the highest of it is the regional coordinating council. Inti na make us say, I would make sure I get a petition, which will be signed by the Islamic community, the assembly as well, and then we will send it to the RCC for them to intervene because it's a social problem. It's like Okano say abaya nyahu bibia, you take the law into your hands, and the RCC is there to make sure that there is law and order in the whole of Western region. In fact, say abano kwesimintima ekma say your honorable nana oneye wono. So they are supposed to make sure that the laws work. And say you two ashawofo, you two natives are daima ashawofo would have to establish certain things and make sure that the law, the state intervenes. But yeye ntimi mbasisia embeka say ashawo ni be na wo ha unless we get that petition from the leadership, which is an official document which we can work on. I don't know if you are satisfied. You are not satisfied.
What's saying or they actual petition?
Matter say that. Landlords because landlord
After proposal, I call regional coordinating council. Proposal yes seeking to reform rental landscape the whole of the western region. And about say you've been making sure say there is mandatory landlord registration. Say we can monitor some of these things and make sure the law works. It is part of the reform initiatives we have taken. The second one is we're making sure say agents no cry are more acting as between us no. Your license or more say I'm betting me ejuma was those agency fees and a percentages are more general. As we betra into honorable assemblyman or petition no regional minister of all MMDAs, the chief executives no, they are presenting more into as here Casa Siciano, honorable Majid, now more fair to facilitate community engagement so that guidelines are given to landlords for them to register. So rent control, we are truly working and we are relying on the authoritative hierarchies in the region to carry out our mandate.
Rent control was a question there. The tenancy argument. More than with maybe. You can go one side. But this over there, she's a this over there. Which side our tenancy argument or we use but you rent card for with the money. So the rent card. But tenancy argument one side. Because tenancy argument here too. Although sign maybe or sign or the
the regional rent control office they are drafting a standard tenancy agreement and making sure say 6 months advance no any other laws basic laws be but rent control office in quiet mean say obeying you see this particular tenancy agreement. It's in a assemblies they say I'm facilitating community engagement no. Part of it they say you represented that tenancy agreement no. I'm a landlords and a tenant. Now you seeking more input so that we can talk about a standard tenancy agreement in the region. So it very much depends on the fastness of the assemblies to make sure we have that community engagement.
Yo, Imam say, you chief Zango. I go na papa na otina wono ohin na otina wono osi masalachi ko so wono abaye no hanti yen hyehyeta na be masalachi wo so no mo so iyo e be gina chief Zongo na ye imam mara amini wana ne Zongo youth for development e be gina wana ne mara Mohammed we ya butara me na ya do wana ase na asamo wa kan wa to ina so there or there was sign petition. It's a debate. Maybe you walk away the other side, maybe you go away.
Exactly.
The petition, but then, certain side, that petition, let's have it inside. Madam, standing there, your mother, it's a petition, no. Yet, Baba, it's a media ornament down as then the was say one to have educated on the Rent Act. The way triumph and the money YouTube. Na yama ashawo promote Muslim community ni nti e da wana since happy secretary ye be ko na ya bo na petition Yeah, that bad. They make sure they will be a major concern of community. Say to one man, about I don't be a people psychology that's the regional rent control for the owners. God bless you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Oh, Mikhail Pan. Yeah, me background, I am necessary. Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. All right.
So, this is the second logo you were elected to.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nice to meet you, sir. Yeah. Chief, I beg you, we are calling for a reform, not only